Okay, let's call.
Hello.
Hey Jess, how's it going?
Hey, good. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. So, our lady in Texas, is it Social, how do you say her name?
Social, I believe.
Social. That's what it says an S. The X sounds like an S.
Yes.
Okay, so Social. I know we talked about helping her out and whatever, and I know you were gonna call her and find out if she was into that. And I'm about to go catch a flight here from the hotel. I wanted to call you and follow up. So what was is does she wanting to move forward? Is that what she's saying? Let's go. What's her feedback?
Yes, so she is wanting our help, just any advice for starting the business, and what we can recommend for her and, businesses and different things that she can go after.
Okay, well I
Anything
can.
that we can recommend.
All right, I will. I'll be glad to help her through that one. And she knows we're going to film a lot of this, and she's cool with all that.
Yes, yes, she is.
Okay, so real quick, then let's just start at the beginning and go through. So what? So does she have a building, and does she know what size equipment she's looking at?
So she is going to look at some buildings. She does not have one yet.
Okay, does she know what size equipment she wants?
She wants our advice on it. She basically wants us to tell her what she needs, and she'll do it. She'll follow any advice we give her.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will send you the. Now listen, I'm gonna send you this, but please tell her and you both don't share this with anybody. I'll actually send you one of the chapters that I wrote in the book that is, and it's all still in draft form, but I've got something in there sort of about what size of, what I would look at for equipment and all that. I'll send that to you, but just don't check because it's not edited or whatever yet, and it's full of my Alabama English and not real cleaned up yet. But so here's what I would say to her. I'm gonna send this. I'll send this all to you. But the same advice I get that question in seminars all the time. People will say, um, if you're going to start a powder coating business tomorrow, what size equipment? What would you start with? And knowing that no matter where you are in the country, the largest customer base you are probably going to get is railings and fence and ornamental work. That just based on I've trained so many people to do this and seen and gone into hundreds of shops around the world, and almost every one of them, over 95% of them, their number one customer base, if they're outsourcing, is fencing and railing. And I know the guys who build that stuff tend to build it in 8 and 10 foot sections. So, and the reason they do that is it's actually twofold. One, so they can truck it, so it's easier to truck it if it's in shorter sections. And two, because nobody's yard's level. So they have to, so when their yard is doing the ups and the downs and the whatever, it gives them, it's easier to install that way. So if I know that is my number one business opportunity, if I'm going to do this as a business, not a hobby, whatever, if I'm going to try to go create a $100,000 a month business in the future, I'm not going to start with anything below probably 10 foot, because if you do, I'm just eliminating the number one customer base that I've got. I think I think your experience will tell you that probably the most popular thing that we see is 20 foot long or 25 foot long, because that way people can now get car frames and help. You do 2 to 3 car frames a month pays for the system, right?
Right.
So, and that's on top of the fence business and whatever that you're going to get. So, at 20 foot, you can get the car frames, you can get most awnings, you can get things like that. So my recommendation for her, I would shoot her a quote stuff and information on say 8 by 8 by 20, so 8 foot wide, 8 foot high, 20 foot long. Booth oven, the whole deal. Make sure you send her the information on the stuff and I know you know this, but to clean with. because if she's going to do this right, I say this all the time. The difference between people that get rich and people that go broke in this industry who are doing it correctly all comes in the prep. And so if she's willing to do the prep work correct, that's if she does that correctly, she'll be gold. We did the seminar a few weeks ago. I was asking around, there were a bunch of people talking about bringing powder in house, and I always tell them, that the people that want to bring it in house, it's always because of quality and lead time, and the lead time's long because people have so much to do, and then the quality is because they're reading the online experts or whatever and halfway trying to clean, and then the problem is you're putting out bad product and that whole deal. So if you go in and clean correctly, there's more business that she could possibly do. And that works for most everybody around the country, but especially for her, right where she's at. So and the good thing is, so the 8x8 by 20, so that's inside usable. I'd try that one and see if she's comfortable there. And then on the building size, so this is generic, but when you start talking 8x8 by 20 setups, so the thing that she's got to remember is if you have an 8 by 20, an 8 foot wide, 20 foot long oven, that's 160 square feet of space. You have to have that 160 plus 160 in front of it so you can move parts in and out. But the general rule is, or kind of a rough, once you start to do all the math and figure out, that by code you have to have 3 foot off all the walls and 3 foot between the equipment and that whole deal. The 20 foot setup, really, just tell her I said this. At 1,500 square foot, it's going to be tight. I don't know that it's going to be a struggle. The equipment would fit, but you're not going to have a lot of room to move around. At about 4,000 square feet, you start to end up with just a lot of space for the sake of having space when you start to get over that with that 20 foot setup. So yeah, about 2,500 to 3,500 square feet is probably the sweet spot if she can find something. If you get a little bit bigger, that's fine. It always gives her the opportunity to blast later and have room to do it, or have more room for customer stuff. But that's what she's looking for. She really wants to start to look at that 2,500 to 3,500 square foot space, and she really wants to look at something that's kind of at least that 20 foot long, so it will open up the other stuff for her. If that all makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And I figured you probably started to tell her all that, or we're going to tell her all that anyway, because I know you talk to more people around the country that do this than most anybody else. So. Cool. Get that to her, and then we'll touch base back at some point here in the next week or so, and I'll, let's see where she's at. I'll give her an opportunity to review it, and then let's set up a phone call, and once she's got her information, we'll kind of take it from there. Does that work?
Okay, that works.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.